Hi, and thanks for joining us on this March edition of CPSB-TV. I'm Haley.
And I'm Shontenaisha. Here's what's coming your way in today's show. Continued work to get our schools repaired after Hurricane Laura and Delta and a flood. We'll get the update.
Plus, a piece of history on display in Lake Charles. You'll see the hearse that carried Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to his final resting place.
And a peek inside the program teaching Spanish-speaking students English to help them thrive at home and in school.
We will have those stories and more. But first, today's top story. It's been over a year and a half since Southwest Louisiana was slammed by Hurricanes Laura and Delta.
Since then, we've seen rebuilding efforts underway, but it feels like it's taking too long. CPSB-TV reporter Jason Boudreaux explains FEMA's role in disaster recovery and where we are today.
This is one of the damaged roofs at our school, College Street Vocational Center, finally being repaired 18 months after parts of it were ripped off from hurricane winds. Underneath this roof, students are still in class.
And so we're dealing with all of those things now here a year after the storm that people may not even anticipate or associate with a hurricane. But here we are. I think we're doing a good job of that. I think we're moving forward. I think we're educating students every day.
The damages to our school facilities in Calcasieu Parish totaled $400 million. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, is funding 90% of those repairs. We talked to FEMA Operations Branch Director Joshua Fulgham to tell us how it works.
Well, FEMA has multiple roles. We assess before, during, and after a disaster. During a disaster, we work with the state as well as the presidential mandate when they declare an emergency declaration. So we are compiling resources and personnel and assessing the situation to come in and to provide the most assistance and help that we can.
That help has been needed from day one up until today, according to Lake Charles Mayor Nick Hunter.
No other American city in history has had so many federally declared natural disasters as Lake Charles has had over a 10-month span. FEMA did a lot of things right for the city of Lake Charles. Where FEMA can improve is their temporary housing plan. It should not take 10 months, 9 or 10 months to get people housed after a hurricane.
One piece of good news for some still living in FEMA housing is that the May deadline has been pushed to October.
The state does have the availability to request an extension if a catastrophe has happened to the extent like what has happened here in Southwest Louisiana, and we can stay longer if we need to.
Next to our housing needs, just getting back to school has been our biggest fight because of all the damage that has been done to our school.
Reporting from CPSB-TV, I'm Jason Boudreaux.
One of the biggest challenges with local people in our schools getting FEMA help was losing the face-to-face meeting with FEMA reps due to COVID.
One example Carl Brookhouse mentioned with the schools is that they took 20,000 pictures for damage documentation. If you want to see more on this topic, we actually produced a documentary on FEMA's impact in Southwest Louisiana for C-SPAN Students Camp. We'll link that in the description box below.
A moving and inspirational exhibit made a special stop in Lake Charles. CPSB-TV reporter Xander Marque shows us the hearse that carried Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to his final resting place. If you missed the event, we'll catch you up.
Here at the Lake Charles Civic Center, an immensely historical item of importance is being showcased in the exhibition hall. The item is a hearse that carried Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to his final resting place.
I think that it's an honor to have something so great, something so historic, and just amazing to be here in the city of Lake Charles for our city and our community to experience.
From the opening of the exhibition to its end in Lake Charles, crowds of young and old came from all over Southwest Louisiana to see this historic artifact.
I did not know that Dr. King's hearse had been preserved like it is now. And then with the videos that are going on telling the story, I think that is awesome.
Having exhibits like this for our youth and those, for everybody, but especially the young people, to learn about the history and how we've arrived to where we are now, and to recognize the work that we still have left to do. Things like this help to put the things that they learn in school in perspective.
It's very important for the younger generation simply because, and it's always been said, we need to know where we've been to know where we got to go or where we're going. And it's very important because Dr. King was a very important man in the civil rights movement. And we as African Americans, blacks, he paved the way for us to have a whole lot of the rights that we have today.
I think that it's relevant just in general. It's relevant at any time. It's important that we celebrate our history, recognize where we've come from, again, and recognize what work we have left to do.
This event is a traveling one and will hopefully be in a city near you. Check your city's information website for upcoming events. Reporting for CPSB-TV, I'm Alexander Marque.
Wow, that was really inspiring.
Do you have any plans to become a teacher, coach, principal, or maybe even the boss of the school district one day? In an effort to show we believe in public education, the Louisiana School Board Association launched a video contest. Let's check in with CPSB-TV reporter Kourtney Peters on this year's winning entry. Our television production program took on a video contest and aimed for the hearts, hoping to show love and passion for those in education roles.
I guess the desire to coach was instilled in me because I grew up with an auntie who was a teacher. To me, a good coach is a good teacher. She was always around working with me, so when I got to college, I told them I wanted to be a teacher.
My mother instilled in me very young that you always want to leave things better when you leave. I don't believe in just being a participant or signing my name on anything. I believe that in order to make a difference, you have to actually be very involved.
That's what I want to do. I went in it, went to college, and I have not looked back since. The most traditional way to become a principal is to become a teacher, teach for 5 years, and then you go and you get a master's degree in educational leadership. Then you pass the principal's praxis test, and then you qualify to become a principal.
My role matters because essentially I feel the weight of a whole generation of students and their success in society as human beings going forward, whether it's in their jobs, with their families, and all of those things.
But teachers have the most important job in the world. We get to influence students not only in an academic way, we get to model what a productive citizen looks like to them.
My role matters because you matter. People think teaching is just, you give so much to your students, but as an adult, we receive so much from our kids too.
Just the look on a student's face when they're successful. That's the thing that I'll take away from this job as truly being a highlight.
Best part is kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm getting to come into a classroom, seeing 15 students, having a good time, learning, being educated, preparing to do something beyond high school, and to be able to see the smiles on your faces. To me, that's the greatest part.
We are thankful for educators who really do care, and we are thrilled to share that we won $5,000 from this submission. Reported for CPSB-TV, I'm Kourtney Peters. It's going to be fun to put that money to good use.
It's very challenging for students from other countries going to school here in Calcasieu Parish, where classes are taught in English. That's where ESL, or English as a Second Language program, at Lake Charles Boston Academy of Learning is helping students who want to learn English. These students are from Honduras, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Nicaragua. They are all native Spanish speakers, trying to learn English to be in regular classroom.
They come to our program, some in the morning, some in the afternoon, just depending on what their needs are. And we help them with everything from learning English to helping them navigate the education system in the United States, because a lot of them are not familiar with it.
I enjoy learning about self-awareness to create a vision for my future.
It helped me with grammar and speaking.
The program typically lasts 2 years. At that point, students are integrated into full English-speaking classrooms at their home schools.
With all the continued construction work in our area, because of the hurricanes, there's a shortage of skilled carpenters. I explored one class here at College Street that is training workers today. If you're looking for an in-demand, high-paying job in our area, there's a shortage of skilled carpenters. The carpentry class at College Street Vocational Center is here to fill that gap. This is the state-of-the-art carpentry shop where students get hands-on learning opportunities with tools of the trade.
Learn how to read a tape measure. Know that there's a lot more to building than just building. There's a lot of math involved, there's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, making sure you don't make mistakes.
Carpentry instructor John Thompson has a passion for carpentry that goes back to his childhood.
Started doing carpenter work when I was 13, and as a helper, and then I started learning the trade, and then worked with my brothers, my dad, my family.
Mr. Thompson has 2 degrees, has worked in the construction field, and now teaches here at College Street Vocational Center, sharing his knowledge with students like Zane Wing.
I found interest about 8 years old. My grandpa, he was a carpenter. We used to build stuff in his barn. I've always had a mindset to I like building stuff.
Zane hopes to become a carpenter one day, and Mr. Thompson says there are plenty of jobs available.
We don't have the background and people to support the trades like we should. So I'm not just speaking for carpentry, but I'm speaking for all the trades. I think we need a lot more people out there that know and that appreciate it, and people that need to push that so that we have more guys out there and women working in the trades.
Reporting for CPSB-TV, I'm Haley Reed. One really cool project I got to see in that carpentry shop was a tiny house fully framed out and roofed. Our class had an interesting challenge: produce a film that lasts only 5 seconds.
Let's see what some students came up with.
What happens to our toes when we put our shoes on?
That was pretty good. Who knew toes went into shoes?
That's a wrap for this edition of CPSB-TV. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to follow our social media websites.
See you next time.